Welcome back, everyone, to Power Up with Pride 2021. Thank you all for the mushy spam in the chat for our new donation record for our summer events. And it is just about time now for the Super Metroid 4-player world randomizer with FreyasSpirit, garbiglitcheress, stars, and a system of vibrant colors. I'm super excited. Good luck, runners.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Flygon.
Thanks.
So this is going to be a world randomizer. What this means is that it just mashed the rooms together in a brand new way, and we're going to be wandering through rooms trying to find anything. This is going to be co-op. We are all sharing items and health through Metroid, so yeah. And you'll very quickly see what a world rando is. And it's going to be interesting trying to find all the 4 bosses. And then the escape is something special. So we hope you all enjoy.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of tracking, or some of us anyway are going to be doing a lot of tracking about which rooms connect to what. And so you'll probably see a few of us pause here and there a bit for that. And we're going to be a little bit separated from chat to be able to communicate more clearly. But we've got Glove here to commentate for us and keep you all up to date on what we're doing and how things are progressing.
Yeah, so obviously, hi, I'm Glove. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of communication going on. So everyone else will be going into a separate Discord call. And this is a very complicated game, especially when we have 4 screens and aren't totally clear what's going to be coming next. So I'll be doing my best job to keep you all aware of what's happening.
We ready for a countdown?
Yeah, sounds good.
We are ready.
Do you want to count us down, Flygon?
Sure thing. Let's do it.
Yay.
All right, good luck, and let's go in 3, 2, 1, yay! And also, right off the bat, we have a $1,000 donation from Alaskan Emily that says rainbows. Can we get some color and rainbows in the chat for that absolutely incredible donation that just threw us to 15,370 for our donation total? Thank you so much. Let's light up the chat with some cute colors.
That's wild. So immediately starting off, if you've ever seen Super Metroid, you're gonna notice some discrepancies here. The very first room, first off, we don't start with Saria's Station, sort of the introductory section of the game. That's pretty commonplace for randomizers. It doesn't have any items. It's just a short introductory segment. However, the first room of the game, this landing site, actually does have does have quite a few doors. And so our runners are going to be going in the different directions to see what the viable paths are. Unfortunately, there aren't quite enough doors for our players just yet, so Colors is waiting on the landing site to provide some nice ship refills. As Freyas mentioned, all of these runners are sharing all of their resources, which includes energy. And at the very beginning of the game, where our runners are going to be very low on resources, that's going to be super impactful. Yep, so it looks like Stars is trying to play careful with health and just explore this room right before Spore Spawn. We have Freyas actually doing some suitless Meridia right now. Normally in this area of the game, you are expected to have an upgrade that is the gravity suit, which allows you to move unrestricted underwater. Because we do not have that yet, or actually Stars just picked that up, which is very fortunate. Without that gravity suit, movement in Meridia is heavily restricted. However, with it, you are able to move normally underwater. The one of the big upgrades that we're going to be looking for, and actually just managed to find, is that Morph Ball. With Morph Ball and those power bombs that are right next to it, quite a bit of the game is going to be opened up. In the vanilla Super Metroid game, you would expect to find Morph as your very first item, so much of the game is gated expecting you to have it. Yes, I do mean orb. Yeah, so really as soon as one of our runners finds super missiles here, the game's going to be tremendously opened up. I would say super missiles are the #1 priority. Then next, some sort of movement item like high jump boots or space jump that allows our runners to traverse vertical rooms is going to be really helpful. And there is, Colors does find that first super missile pack. Now door shells won't be any sort of a concern at all. However, oh no. Yeah, so one of the interesting things with this World Randomizer specifically is you can start select to travel back to the ship at any time if you just want to get to the hub. So once runners have exhausted whatever paths they're on, or in this case, it definitely helped them a lot to get a refill on those power bombs. Right now, power bombs are our runners' only source of bombs, and all 4 runners only have 5 power bombs between all of them, which it would seem like having 4 people playing the same Metroid game and all getting upgrades at the same time helps quite a bit, and it really does. But especially in this early game, ammo management is key. All right, and looks like Freyas is having some difficult rooms here. Had to take some damage for some heck runs. A lot of the Norfair rooms are heated, expecting you to have the Varia suit, which is one of the other necessary upgrades that we're likely going to need to find in order to beat the game. Varia suit prevents damage in heated rooms. Until then, our runners will be taking damage constantly in any heated room. And for people wondering in the chat about the Samus sprite that all 4 of these runners are using, this is the Trans Samus sprite made by Tarthoron, if I am not mistaken. But yeah, so a lot of the coordination within these multi-Troid runs, especially when you have so many people, is going to be around that ammo management, health management. You see Garby right now just farming up health so that some of the other runners can get through heated rooms. And we do find charge and wave beam at the same time. That's a tremendous boon to our firepower. There are a few things that you're traditionally required to get in order to beat a seed of Super Metroid Randomizer. Just about all of them can be bypassed. It's been said before, you need Morph and just about everything else is optional. Generally, you need both Varia and Gravity Suit. You need at least 3 energy tanks to beat the game. You need some way to traverse vertical rooms, something like high jump or bombs for bomb jumping or space jump. and you need some way to kill the final boss, Mother Brain. So either a charge beam or quite a few super missiles.
I would like to remind everyone that we are $76 away from meeting our Axiom Verge hard mode incentive that needs to be met by the completion of this run. So let's get our donations in to make that happen so we can get a little bit more time with Sabera.
All right, looks like so Stars just found Business Center. This room with the crawling fire guys right here, and that's actually a really important discovery because this room has quite a few doors, and the more doors a room has, the more paths you can take here. Ooh, that's gonna be an unfortunate death. Yeah, again, when you have 4 runners all trying to do their separate things, especially with the sort of little bit of lag that is present within Multitroid, uh, as it turns out, it can be a bit finicky to try and get 4 SNESes to all communicate with each other at the same time. And so, just due to accidental deaths and trying to traverse the map as quickly as possible, uh, a lot of players have a million different ways of taking notes to try and remember if there are items they couldn't access somewhere, or what rooms were connected to which ones. Uh, and I believe you sort of see the full gamut of it in this race, where I believe it's Stars has like a full spreadsheet for all the room connections, whereas Freyas just decides to just go for it. And speaking of, Freyas did just find plasma beam. So at this point, our runners effectively have just about the best beam combination in the game. The only thing that could help them at this point is a little bit of extra damage from ice. Ice is also just a really good beam to find in general. It saves you time in Turian because Metroids either need to be killed using Ice Beam or 3 power bombs. Ice is also really useful for certain room traversal strats. You can freeze enemies in order to climb on top of them. Yeah, and it did look there like Stars had Hyper Beam. The game can get a little bit weird if you suddenly receive an extra beam that it wasn't expecting you to. So Stars had the pattern of the wave beam shot in the formation of the plasma wave beam. So it looked a little bit silly. Alright, and Freyas are going for a difficult trick here called Snail Clip. Basically, if you get the enemy there, it's called a yard or just a snail, in the correct position, then when you go from being morphed to crouched, your hitbox will be just a little bit in the wall, so you can just jump right through the speed booster blocks right here and actually manage to collect the items above. Yeah, it seems like Freyas are maybe getting a little bit low on each attempt. This can be a very useful trick, as it gives you access to 2 items that you would otherwise need speed for. And really, any time you can gain access to additional items is going to be really helpful. Even if it's just something like missiles or super missiles, when you're sharing resources with 3 other people, then each ammo pack you pick up is actually going to be way more helpful than it would otherwise be. Yeah, now with this snail clip trick, beforehand you can look at what one of the items is. However, there are 2 items up there. And Stars just found Screw Attack. Screw Attack, and Space Jump. I was just about to say, Screw Attack, especially when combined with Space Jump, is an incredibly powerful way to traverse rooms, and can almost trivialize certain rooms in the game, especially a lot of the late game Lower Norfair rooms. Once you are expected by the game to have that Screw Attack. Screw Attack, with some caveats, okay, Speed Booster, and a Varia. So I would say that's a worthwhile snail clip. Good lord. But yeah, so Screw Attack does a ton of damage every single frame to enemies within its hitbox. So it's quite useful. But yeah, so basically our runners just went from being in pretty decent shape to being quite kitted out. Health management won't be quite as much of an issue now. Having that Varia suit, they will no longer take damage in heated rooms. However, Freyas did come across Ridley, an incredibly challenging boss. And it seems like, yeah, Freyas just wanted to wait for some of the other runners to farm up a little bit of health as to not die here. Space Jump and Screw Attack make Ridley quite a bit easier. I believe it is still in the realm of 27 charge shots for this fight with the beam that our runners currently have. Alright, and a really well executed fight there from Freyas. And Stars does find the second gravity suit. One of the settings that our runners have with this world randomizer is that there are 2 of every major item upgrade, just to make finding the items a little bit easier. Stars does pick up that Spazer. That's a little bit unfortunate. Spazer and Plasma can't be equipped at the same time. So Stars has to go back into the menu, equip Plasma. I forget if all the runners have to do that. Seems like maybe not.
We have time for a donation?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. We have $100 from Sabera that says, hydrangeas are blue, roses are pink, baby's breath white. Hey, that's the trans flag, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, so we also just found Ice Beam at the Vanilla Spring Ball location. And so at that point, this is just about like the best seed you could ask for in terms of items. Our runners, there's not really any other items they could find that could make this seed much faster in terms of major item upgrades. So they're maybe going to look for a little bit more ammo, but their primary objective at this point is just going to be exploring the map and trying to find the remaining bosses, so that then they can move on to the end segment of the game. Somewhere there will be what we call the statue room, which is just sort of a check to see if you have defeated the 4 main bosses of the game. And until you have, the room will just be closed off. But once you have defeated them, you will be put into the end game segment. So at this point, our runners are just going to try and explore as much of the map as they can. Yeah. They're not Yeah, it is a good point to mention, though. Our runners are not technically in go mode yet, as they don't have enough HP to survive Mother Brain's final attack, the Rainbow Beam. In order to beat the game, you need at least 3 tanks. And that's just because Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam, which puts you into the end game cutscene in the final phase of the boss, does do a set 300 damage to you, and that's unavoidable. Yeah, there are. Seems like Stars is playing around there. So that enemy, that's called a gamer. It'll just follow you wherever you go. But yes, there are ways within Multitroid to manage a refill with only 1 tank. So some people have done 2-player low percent Multitroid runs. However, it is exceedingly difficult. All right, yep, and Stars is fighting Kraid right now. So A are attempting a trick known as the Kraid Quick Kill. They unfortunately missed it. But basically, if you can time your shots just right, you can freeze Kraid's mouth in the open position, such that you win the fight before Kraid has ever stood up. However, with this fully kitted out beam, all it takes is 1 charge shot after Kraid stands up, and he goes down. Meanwhile, Freyas has collected those bombs. At this point in the game, bombs are deceptively useful, as they allow our runners to be a bit lighter with their power bomb usage, which necessitates not quite as many refills. Yeah, and Kraid was hiding 2 save rooms behind him, so maybe not the most exciting. And he does have some graphical glitches to boot. However, managing to find and take down any of the bosses is really the most important thing at this point. Yeah, and with that reserve tank, our runners do have enough health to beat the game. However, in randomizers, generally you want to see more than just 3 tanks, just for a little bit of extra safety. Yep, and you might notice some of our runners, both Colors and Freyas, just went through them, going through rooms in the wrecked ship area of the game. That room is that area is entirely turned off until you defeat Fantoon, at which point wrecked ship turns on, enemies appear, you can actually collect items from there, and the area is traversable. So up until that point, there's not a lot our runners can really do in the wrecked ship area. Yeah, so Garby right now is trying to get through what we call the maze. The intended way to get through this is using Spring Ball. And if you have Spring Ball, it's pretty easy. You just hold jump and right to get past those crumble blocks. But if you do not have Spring Ball, you have to do some pretty tricky jump morphs. And Colors right now just took down Golden Torizo. That is not, despite having golden in the name, Golden Torizo or GT is not one of the 4 required bosses. However, nearly every single mini boss in this game has another door transition behind them, so they can be required for map traversal. All right, yeah, and Garby right now is attempting a trick that's called Green Gate Glitch. The way that Garby has to do it here, it is actually a frame perfect trick in which you can push a super missile just left enough into that gate such that it touches that button on the left and opens up the gate for you. Unfortunately, it only works on leftward facing gates, but Garby does manage to get it, and it's a very useful and essential trick to know for randomizers especially. Yeah, and we see on Star Screen there what I was talking about with Wrecked Ship being turned off. We're hoping that it could pick up that item there. Unfortunately, the E-Tank that is normally there does not spawn until Fantoon has been defeated, which has been the frustration of many a randomizer runner. Garby finds our second wave beam, as Freyas finds our second high jump boots. Always good to have a spare. Our runners need to be really cognizant of their health, though. Alright, yeah, and Garby is just going to do some farming here to help our runners not die, especially as Stars is in a very difficult room in the game. This room's called Wasteland, and all of the large side hoppers here can do quite a bit of damage. Freyas really played it a little bit dangerous there. The room that Freyas were in is called the Back of Gauntlet, and it has acid in there that even with the Varia suit can just eat up a huge chunk of your life. And it seems like Stars is maybe taking notes right now. It's really important to be able to have good note taking for all the rooms you're going through. Including once it comes to the very end of the game, after our runners have defeated Mother Brain, they will have a randomized escape sequence, so they'll have to remember their paths through the rooms. Alright, and Garby collects our last major upgrade of note, the Spring Ball. Spring Ball is an incredibly useful item. Lots of room strats you can do with it. It also can help alleviate power bombs. It's not quite as impactful when you have every other item in the game at this point, unfortunately. It can be used actually to replace just about all of the uses of high jump boots through a neat trick called Spring Ball Jump, where you can actually basically get a double jump using Spring Ball by unequipping it and re-equipping it. However, we won't be seeing any of that in this run. Unfortunately, high jump boots and space jump both sort of invalidate its usage in that regard. However, it can still make room traversal quite a bit faster. Alright, and Garby is facing Botswoon right now. This should be, I think, 4 charge shots with a full beam? Okay, 3. It comes down, the full beam can actually hit twice. Plasma beam's unique property is that it pierces through enemies. And so as a result of that, if the beam is still in an enemy, after the iframes have run out, then the same charge shot can hit the same enemy twice in a row. So Garby made some really good use of those double hits there to take down Botswoon in seconds. Freyas here is in a quite frustrating room that we call Crumble Shaft. Every single platform here are crumble blocks that you just fall through. So collecting that item up at the top, the E tank, E stands for estrogen, of course, is quite frustrating. However, Freyas making it look like it's nothing. Yeah, I think now would probably be a good time for any announcements or donations if you have any.
Sure, that'd be great. We have $10 from Too Many Charas with no comment. Thank you so much. And I would love to take this time to remind everyone of our remaining 2 bid wars that we have for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Online, which is going to be our finale run. So you can choose the music, you can change the soundtrack, and there's a variety of amazing options, including Cave Story, which would probably be my choice. We also have Undertale. We have an RPG medley. There's a lot of incredible options you can look at. You can put your donations towards, and also the naming bid war. We have a variety of awesome names, and there's not really a character length, as you can see. There's some very large donation descriptions, which are making me laugh. So you can also put in, top 3 choices for that rolling incentive the past run, so that all your donations can be put towards that.
Awesome. Yeah, and so just a little bit ago, we saw FreyasSpirit once again make use of that start plus select combination to travel back to the ship. That's one of the more unique things about this world randomizer, I think. I don't know of any other randomizer for Super Metroid that allows you to warp back to the ship at any time with all of your items. And that does make map traversal, it can make it quite a bit faster. Especially if you don't have a great way to figure out what the best path through rooms is. Because of the nature of World Randomizer, it's hard to even get a picture in your mind of where rooms lead to, because there's no real good way to think of it, unfortunately. You go from Norfair to Meridia to Wrecked Ship back to Criteria, and then Norfair again. But yeah, so at this point, our runner's primary goals are they need to find Phantoon, they need to find Dragon, and they need to actually find the Golden Four-Room or the Statues Room at the very end of the game that will allow them to enter Turian. Yeah, so Garby right now is dealing with what we like to call the Metal Pirates or the Ninja Pirates. These pirates can only be damaged when they're gold, and there are quite a few strategies to deal with them. You can use Shine Sparks, which is an ability added with a speed booster, where you can deal damage while traveling at extremely fast speeds. Oh, and Freyas has found Dragon, or excuse me, Stars found Dragon. So A have quite a few resources for air fight. There are a couple different ways to deal with this boss. It looks like they are setting up for a Shine Spark. Dragon is notable. Ooh, accidentally Shine Sparking up in the air. Dragon is notable for being a boss that can be damaged by Shine Sparks. And so the absolute fastest method to deal with Dragon is using Shine Sparks. However, you can also use the grapple beam and grapple onto one of these turrets on the walls. And it deals damage to both Dragon and Samus. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I just have to escape from Dragon here. There is a faster grapple setup you can do so that you can grapple to one of the turrets before Dragon even grabs you, but it can be kind of tricky to get. So it looks like Stars maybe just wants to go for some full beam shots, which is a pretty nice choice. This takes Dragon down pretty quickly. If our runners had X-Ray at this point in the race, there's actually a really neat trick you can do on Dragon that's called microwaving. That's very similar to the Yellow Devil glitch from Mega Man. Basically, you can just use the X-ray beam or the X-ray scope to reset an enemy's iframes over and over again. And so with a charged plasma shot, because plasma pierces enemies, you can just fully damage down an enemy with one charge shot. However, Stars does manage to get that turret grapple, dealing damage to Dragon. And so now the only boss that we need to find yet is Fantoon.
Just real quick, want to say welcome to Games Done Quick and thank you so much for the raid. Hope you all enjoy the content we have here at Power Up with Pride 2021.
Yeah, so for anyone who's just joining us, right now we are doing a cooperative Super Metroid World Randomizer. What that means is that all of the rooms in Super Metroid, all of the door transitions have been shuffled around with each other. So any room in the game can lead to any other room. Additionally, our runners are using a program that is known as Multitroid that allows them to share their resources and items. So that means that if one player picks up an ice beam, then all the other players get it. However, what that also means is that if one player takes damage, all of the others do as well. So it requires quite a bit of fine communication in order to not find yourself in situations where one runner is doing something really dangerous while another runner is walking through a heated room and taking damage. But yes, our runners in this race found some really nice upgrades quite quickly. And at this point, they're just looking for the statue that signifies the ending area of the game, as well as they are looking for Fantoon, the final major boss that they have to defeat. Yeah. But yeah, so the most important thing with World Randomizer is first and foremost communication, and secondly, either really good note taking or really good sense of the map. And one of the other notable features of the World Randomizer is the fact that you can use Start and Select to warp you back to the ship with all your items. in part to make map traversal easier, and in part to help you if you ever get stuck anywhere. And as Colors is showing off right now, there are actually 2 of every major item. Finding the second copy doesn't do anything for you, but we do get to say orb again. But yes, so theoretically, this race is pretty close to finishing out in terms of what our runners still have to accomplish. However, actually managing to find items and the map traversal required to do so is really the meat of a world randomizer. And for me personally, my favorite part of something like this, of any kind of world randomizer or door randomizer, is sometimes you'll see runners like enter through certain rooms and maybe they'll like jump through a door or something, expecting everything to go a certain way. Because for speedrunning, you're so used to whenever you enter into the next room, you're already thinking about what the next room's going to be during this door transition. And so you plan your entrance accordingly, but of course in a door randomizer you're not ending up where you're supposed to be. So it really requires some good on-the-fly thinking, and it can really help you with being able to improvise some room strats really well.
We have time for a quick donation here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we have $20 from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you so much. And for everyone coming in or who has been with us, having a great time, this is Power Up with Pride 2021 here on Twitch, running from June 4th through the 6th, which is today. Today's our last day, and we're benefiting the Trevor Project. If you want to find out more about what the Trevor Project does, you can do !charity in the chat. If you're interested in donating, you can do !donate and see our schedule for what we have coming up and the incentives we have for our upcoming runs as well, with !schedule and !incentives. So thank you so much everyone for being here and supporting this great cause and great marathon.
All right, yeah. And so the room that Stars is going through right now, that room is a deceptively difficult one, and with the floating enemies in the sand, we call Avirs. Especially if you don't have screw attack, it can be really frustrating to traverse. Just because if you don't have screw attack, those enemies can be really difficult to deal with, and if you either get hit by one of them or you just fall into the sand for another reason, sand can be really miserable to escape. Yeah, so Stars here is actually in what would normally be one of the first areas you see in the game, and we do see the orb right there on its vanilla pedestal. Yeah, normally every single vanilla run of this game, and just about every single non-area randomizer will come down here first, collect that morph ball, and in standard randomizers where the map is the same, we'll then travel to the right and collect the goodies over there. However, with the world randomizer, obviously we traverse the world in quite a different manner. And so here next on Star Screen, we see a section of the game that is the Meridia side of what we call Forgotten Highway. As the name might imply, we don't see this section of the game too much. It's just generally slower to travel through here in nearly every situation. Going from Meridia to Wrecked Ship through what we call Reverse Forgotten Highway is technically faster if you are going from Plasma Beam to Fantoon and you have Space Jump. But yeah, and it's probably worth mentioning at this point, our runner's ammo has gotten into quite a bit of a nicer situation where we have 70 missiles, 45 supers, and 35 power bombs. At this point, runners aren't really going to have to coordinate anything with ammo, except possibly in the end game. Yeah, so Stars did find Parlor here. Ooh, and Freyas actually just stumbled upon the Golden Four or the Statues room. This is huge. Our runners are going to have to return here once they've found and defeated Fantoon in order to actually be able to enter the end game section of the game, Turian, and defeat Mother Brain and beat the game. But yes, for Stars, finding Parlor here is nice because this is a room that has quite a few door transitions. So it's quite a few possible paths to explore. Yeah, but yes, to answer a question in the chat, Turian is not randomized. However, after the first couple rooms, the escape section is randomized. Yeah, just like we saw there with one of the rooms that would normally be part of the escape on Freya's screen. But yes, our runners could technically save the animals if they have the ability to remember where the Bomb Chorizo room is and get back to it during the escape sequence. That would be quite a hassle, though. Alright, and colors here will be attempting a green gate glitch. And you might notice that colors is attempting it a bit differently from what Garby was doing. Green gate glitch is one of those tricks where it's so commonplace and so useful, but a little bit frustrating that every single runner sort of has their own way of attempting the trick. It's depending on the day, it can be either the easiest hard trick in the game or the hardest easy trick in the game. It is frame perfect, and sometimes it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like it's pretty trivial, whereas other times it can just be miserable to try and get. So it seems like a lot of our runners are getting to the point now where they're just trying to figure out what remaining paths they have that they haven't found yet. Oh, and Freyas is setting up and successfully gets here a trick that is known as the Spore Spawn skip. and is rewarded with Fantoon. So this means that our runners will be able to beat the game quite shortly. So first, that Spore Spawn skip. Basically, normally there's a super missile block at the end of that tunnel. However, you can position yourself just right within it, such that the missile doesn't despawn, but it accelerates quickly enough to get far enough to hit that super block. Alright, and Frey is taking on Fantoon right now. With full beam, it's a pretty trivial 2-round Fantoon. If you can get total of 7 missiles and 2 full charge shots. Fantoon disappears if you fire too many missiles at once or if you do too much damage in one attack. However, Freyas takes care of the fight nicely. In most vanilla runs, yeah, in most vanilla runs, Fantoon can be quite frustrating. However, being fully kitted out like this makes it much better. So question in chat, what is the runner on the bottom left doing? Stars, from what I understand, is the primary note taker. And we have just now entered the section of the game where we are in full go mode. All we need to do is go to Golden 4, where Colors has gone, as well as Garby, and beat the game. However, we still have the escape sequence to deal with, and the escape is randomized based on the room connections. So you need to have some good note taking, which means often it's very good to come into the escape sequence with a plan beforehand.
We have time for some donations before we get to endgame escapey times.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. We have $10 from Anonymous that says, "Thanks for a fun weekend for a good cause." And we have $10 from Ragnar. "Thank you to everyone involved in this great event for a great cause. And thank you to all the viewers and donators who make all of this possible, and all of the runners, volunteers, and staff as well, making this an incredible weekend."
Awesome. So now we see Colors is going through the escape, or through Turian. Because of multi-troid, you only need one person to beat the game. The Metroid rooms can be some of the most sections of the game. We're not generally as worried time-wise in this case, especially since it's really important to figure out everything that needs to be done for the escape. Colors super count is lower than you want, however, they have more than enough missiles to make up for it. You do have a minimum number of missiles and super missiles that you can have, or that you can have and still beat the game. So for any percent runs, for example, you will see people at the top level get 15 missiles, 10 supers, and 5 power bombs, and that allows you, I believe, 1 missile of leeway total. Oh, and Colors is attempting a baby skip here, so you can sort of jump rope this baby in order to avoid a very long cutscene. In which the baby leeches all of your health. Oh, and unfortunately Colors gets grabbed there, so close to the end. And of course, all the respect in the world for Colors facing left there. If you face right during that cutscene, facing right during the baby grab actually cuts 40 frames because when you face left, there's an animation of Samus actually standing back up that just doesn't exist if you face right. However, facing left is about sending a message. But yes, so here colors will first take a save and then likely attempt a trick that is known as Zeb Skip. There are going to be gates in this next room, and because they cause a lot of lag, the next one doesn't spawn until the previous one is defeated. So if you can manage to clip through this first gate here, the rest of them don't spawn. And Colors is attempting what might be the most difficult way, in my opinion, to do the Zeb Skip, which is called the down back Zeb Skip. It's a lot of pretty tight inputs in a short succession, but Colors, of course, nails it. Yep, and so for Mother Brain 1 can only be damaged by ammo, so missiles and super missiles. There's both a projectile and a damage requirement to take down Mother Brain 1, which means that you need to use at least 3 missiles or you're just wasting supers. It doesn't really matter in this case since Colors had so many more missiles than supers. However, Colors is now on to the second phase of Mother Brain, what we call Mother Brain 2. 20 shots takes down this Mother Brain. After 16 full beam shots, Mother Brain starts doing what we call Ketchup Beam, which deals quite a bit of damage and can double or even triple hit. Colors manages to avoid it and is refilling using her reserves here to perform a trick that is known as stand-up glitch. Normally, Mother Brain zaps you with her rainbow beam, and then you have to deal with a super lengthy cutscene. However, by damaging yourself down a little bit on Mother Brain afterwards, and being airborne when this cutscene starts, you're actually able to circumvent it entirely.
I'm actually not gonna do stand up. I'm gonna stand a corner.
Yep, and what this means is that once Mother Brain actually sort of transitions to the Mother Brain 3 phase, Colors will be able to do some extra damage to her. So right now this is just for show. Mother Brain doesn't take any damage up until the moment that she sits down and turns gray. Yeah, so now Mother Brain can be damaged.
So I have a key into a room, I go right, then I find
seems
an
like
elevator, I go up.
Colors doesn't want to do any damage to Mother Brain during
But I
the
have a
stand up
save
though,
right
just
before
to stand up for fun.
the brain fight, so I guess it's fine.
Even if you don't do any damage, you actually can save a little bit of time, and I do mean a little bit of time, like frames, by performing stand-up glitch, just by manipulating the baby to grab Samus a little bit earlier and accelerate the cutscene. Yeah, so at this point, Freyas is just taking down Mother Brain 3 very quickly. Once you have defeated, or once the baby has detached, that cutscene is ended, you get the Hyper Beam, which is even stronger than charge shots from the full beam. And so Mother Brain 3 fight goes down pretty quickly. By standing closer to Mother Brain 3 there, Colors was able to minimize the amount of time that each Hyper Beam shot was on screen, as Hyper Beam can lag out the game quite a bit. And we have some nice visual artifacts here. Oh, and Freyas is there to save the game, to save the animals. Very nice.
I love to see it.
Let's him take a little bit of a soak in the acid beforehand, but but they make it out all right. Yeah, so at this point, all of our runners just have to make it back to the ship, and time will be once our last runner hits down on the ship, I believe. But yep, and this is why the note-taking process was so important earlier on in the run. Is now our runners have a limited amount of time to traverse through the map as quickly as possible. So we see at this point, Freyas and Garby have made it back to the ship, and Freyas is trying an incredibly difficult, I believe, frame perfect trick here that doesn't actually do anything for you, but does glitch out the cutscene a little bit to make it look like there are 3 Samuses as you touch down on the ship. But Freyas does just hit down on the ship. That means at this point, we are just waiting on stars and colors to finish. And it looks like they're at about the same point, but they're trying different paths to try and figure out the best way to return to the ship. Yeah, and it looks like they're both just trying all the door transitions. Unfortunately, they have a couple of areas where there are quite a few door transitions that they can attempt to find their path through. All right, and Stars has touched down on the ship. And now that's time. GG to our runners. That was a really well run race, and with the help of a seed that gave us the items we wanted quite early on.
Under an hour.
Yeah, we get a final time of 59:31. About an hour under estimate. Yeah, and now we are joined by all of our runners. GG.
GG.
That was a jet seed, was it not?
Yeah.
That was the fastest seed we've ever encountered. By far.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
In all of our practice seeds, getting the escape was already routed. Like, we'd already seen all the rooms by that point. So on this one, we didn't have them all noted. It was a bit of me running ahead of colors, trying to figure out which rooms not to go into.
We barely got morph, then we got space, we got screw, we got fire, got gravity, all in like 5 minutes. Like, huh? That's okay.
Wow. Also, thank you everybody who donated for that incentive. I love the rainbow beam. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And it causes some interesting colorful glitches with enemies when you freeze them. It is so cool. I know I didn't have ice on for long, but I think y'all get to see it on someone else's screen.
It's on a Rainbow Metroid.
I had it for a while.
That was the closest I've ever been from Baby Escape, by the way. Never been so close before.
Yeah, that was a really good attempt. You had like the initial jump ropes. I think you just got caught up on the enemies.
Yeah.
So was this a bit of a mind-bending rando compared to what you're used to commentating, Glove?
Oh my goodness. I like my major minor splits where like you know, okay, this item's either gonna be an E-tank or like, you know, morph ball or something.
And then in addition to like just items or whatever, like you don't even know if you can, like, just because you get screw attack doesn't mean you can access what you can normally access with it, or some other item, you know, like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so funny seeing like, oh, especially that one moment, like, I mean, I think, well, like Freya's got snail clip and got like speed and Varia, and then immediately after we got like high jump and screw or something.
Yes,
That is so common for these.
I found screw attack and space jump in the same room.
The other thing that's great with like a World Rando is how you find a home that's eaten and you're there like, oh, it's fine, it's a small room, so you go through. Then you find another room that's eaten and you're there like, okay, I guess I have to continue. And then you get another room that's eaten and you're there like, oh no, what have I done? Via is really, really important.
Yeah. So how did the note-taking process go?
So it took a long while, but Garby helped me make a spreadsheet, and in the spreadsheet we have the rooms sorted by map zone, and but only the rooms that have more than 2 entrances. So things like parlor, business center, or even like the Meridia right side exit tube, right? Like, because it's got 3 doors, even though you can't go, if you're in it, you can't go out one of them. And we've just share the document and we collectively write in them where their connections are, and we try to keep their connections like when it's the parlor, right, we have like landing site at the top right of it and whatnot, so it kind of makes sense when you're looking at it. It's a lot. I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Yeah, World Randomizer and any sort of door randomizer is just really a
Yeah.
handful to try and figure out how to track it.
You can do just like me and you don't take any notes and you just go like the technique is named YOLO.
Yeah, you and Freya's are really good at that. I will, however, pass through a room and 2 rooms later forget which one it was connected to. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much to the 4 of you and the commentary was amazing. For that incredible sub-hour world randomizer. GG's for that. Since everyone's kind of noticed we went an entire hour under estimate, I am excited to announce we have a secret surprise bonus run that's going to be happening with a spontaneous incentive that's going to be opening up very soon. We're going to be seeing a any % Super Metroid run by the one and only FreyasSpirit. Surprise!
Surprise!
Yay!
And we're gonna you know what time it is. It's time for a save or kill bid war. What do you want to see, chat? Let's do this.
Really, it should be whether you pat or not pat.
Yeah.
My vote
Chat
always
already
goes
blowing up.
Yeah, my vote always goes to save.
Yeah.
I am a
especially
save
for marathon
fan.
runs.
I am a save.
Yeah, but do we save the animals with petting or do we save the animals without petting?
Hmm.
You gotta give them a pat, especially that one last Etikun that's a straggler and doesn't quite run out the door right away.